One of the projects I'm currently involved in aims at investigating how second language users learn and process language structures in their L2, which may not be difficult in terms of form, but are complex and may be ambiguous in terms of form meaning mapping. And for English as a second language learners, the same for German as a second language or foreign language learners, modal verbs can be difficult in this way, because we know that each of modal verbs can have more than one meaning, and on the other hand, each of these meanings can be expressed by the use of more than one modal verbs. So in this study, we look at Croatian L1 native speakers. They are at relatively advanced levels, level C1 of the European Framework for Reference. They are university students majoring, one group majoring in English and the other group majoring in German. And there are also two groups of native speakers as controls, English native speakers and German native speakers. So the participants are first given the acceptability judgment test, which is believed to measure explicit knowledge, and then self-paced reading task, which is tapping more into implicit knowledge, actually looks at how these participants process sentences while viewing them on the screen, and they appear word by word. Studies in L1 have shown that when native speakers encounter any problem, either some kind of grammatical violation or some meaning ambiguity in meaning, they slow down. And now we were interested to see whether relatively advanced second language learners would show similar or different behavior when doing a self-paced reading task. So what the results show here, the results of acceptability judgment tests show that, at least for English, because this is still work in progress, there is no significant difference between second language learners and these second language learners and native speakers when modals can and may are used appropriately. However, there are differences in those situations when they are used inappropriately and in particular meanings. Here I need to point out that we adopted Palmer's classification of modal verbs, where modal verbs in English are classified into those with epistemic meaning, deontic meaning, and dynamic meaning. So epistemic is concerned with knowledge, belief, and opinion, whereas deontic meaning refers to performative use of modals, for example, asking for permission. A dynamic would be related to modal verb can when expressing ability. The results of the self-paced reading task also showed significant difference between native speakers and second language learners, but again, only when epistemic modality is concerned, because when expressing dynamic meaning, in Croatian L1, modal verbs are used as well. However, in Croatian L1, epistemic possibility, for example, is not expressed by the use of modal verbs, but by the use of lexical devices, for example, using adverbs. So these results are actually not surprising, and they show us that Croatian native speakers may have problems when learning English, particularly with the use of modals in their epistemic meaning. And this is also interesting because studies in L1 show that with English native speakers, children acquire non-epistemic meanings first, so deontic and dynamic, and only later epistemic meaning of modal verbs is acquired.